This is the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA, a weekly recap of your Philadelphia Eagles and news around the NFL. Broadcasting live from Chickies and Pete's, tonight's show is brought to you by Rob's Automotive and Collision, BCWSA, Chickies and Pete's, Allstate Fairless Hills Tom LaCroix, Penworth Financial Services, Penn Community Bank, Capital Grill, Ventresca's LTD, Independence Blue Cross, and SEPTA. We now go live to Chickies and Pete's for the Pro Football Report, presented by BCWSA. Now, here are your hosts, Delaware County Times Birds reporter Bob Grotz and voice of the Philadelphia Eagles, Merrill Reese.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. It is great to be with you. We are at Chickies and Pete's in Audubon, and the Eagles are 2-0. A lot of people chiming in with this is wrong and that is wrong, and they have to do this better and they have to do that better. But all I know, Bob, is that they are off to a 2-0 start, and I'm feeling pretty good about that.
You can't argue with the start. However, is it me, or did they trade a first-round pick, a third-round pick, and give A.J. Brown $25 million a year for him to be a blocker in this run game? I mean, what?
Why are you
did I miss something? Or?
Yeah, you did. You did. As usual, you did miss something. You missed the fact that he was a prominent receiver in the opening game of the season, and he goes into and last year in the opening game, Devontae Smith didn't have any receptions, and Nick Sirianni said something.
And what gives with that, Merrill?
Well, it just happens. You take what the defense gives you. It's not the quarterback's job. It's not the offensive coordinator's job to make everybody happy. The job is you play the plays that work. When the defense gives you something, I've noticed carefully that the defense is using extra people to take Jalen Hurts out of the running game. And
these games are too close for comfort, Merrill. Well, I'm sorry. They're one-score games at the end, and if there had been somebody besides Mac Jones in New England, he would have used one of those three chances.
No, I think
quarter.
Mac Jones is pretty good. He's playing pretty well. Mac Jones is not a bad quarterback. There are worse quarterbacks than Mac Jones.
Oh, there are worse. But I won't dispute that.
Look, the Eagles got off to a 16-0 lead in that game and should have built on it, and they were up in this game 27-7. But still they won the game. And still, I think if you're going to say what is causing this, all you have to do is look around the National Football League right now. I watched a zillion games on Sunday and Monday. They're all sloppy. I mean, yes, Dallas is playing lights out, but they haven't had very good opponents. But basically, teams right now reflect the fact that coaches are rarely playing regulars during the preseason. And some of these regular season games look like game 2 or 3 of what used to be done in the preseason.
Okay, excuses aside. All those excuses aside.
Okay, you don't buy that.
This is not
you
not
don't
all
buy
of it.
that not using regulars in the preseason has
no
effect on the game.
Because everybody is in the same boat with that.
No, they're not all.
Yeah, basically. Look at the Chiefs. They're 1-1. They played their starters a lot. I don't think that's the problem. It's been a while, for example, since I've seen Jalen Hurts get outplayed at quarterback in a game, which is what happened this past week with Kirk Cousins.
Well, listen, I'm going to tell you something. Jalen Hurts had one interception, but he was 18 for 23. He had a touchdown pass to Devontae Smith. He had another touchdown pass to A.J. Brown in the corner of the end zone, which was called back on a questionable holding call on Rashad Penny. And then he had another touchdown pass that would have been in the hands on a bomb to A.J. Brown, except that interference was there. They didn't call it, but his arms were yanked down before the ball arrived. So really, he threw what should have been 3 touchdown passes, and he completed well over 70% of his passes, had a quarterback rating of about 100. So if you're
those are good
picky,
points. You take away those 4 Vikings fumbles, and and what kind of a game would it have been then?
Well, I mean, you take away that, Mrs. Lincoln, and what did you think of the play? I mean, really.
That is a good joke. I haven't heard that for a while.
You can't take away the 4 fumbles. Yeah. I mean, you wanted to, so why don't you take away the interception? I mean, you can't.
My bottom line, Merrill, I'm with you about the start. 2-0, you can't argue with that. You really cannot. And they had some adversity in those games. They lost some starters in both of the games They lost starters on the defensive side. But I don't, and I'm not blaming Brian Johnson either, the new coordinator. I like him. I'm just saying there is something about this offense, particularly the pass offense, that the opposition has figured out. There's a template out there, and that's going to be a problem. They better get that fixed soon.
Well, I think the template that is out there is how to stop Jalen Hurts from running, to bring extra bodies up at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
I think that they've investigated and studied in the offseason how they can contain him as a runner. You won't see him holding the ball on the RPO as much as he has in the past. However, I do believe that the passing game will open up, and I personally don't care if they run for 200 yards or pass for 200 yards. I thought that running game was as good as I've seen it in a
effective.
long time.
No question.
Who cares if they run or pass?
Here's why you should care.
Why?
Because if you have to come back in a game, you're not going to do it by running the ball.
Oh, no. But if they have to come back in the game, they're going to be playing different defenses, and you're going to be playing a more wide-open offense. But I do think that when you can run the ball like that, it's going to set up. Tampa Bay right now is going to be spending a lot of time preparing to stop that Eagles running game and preparing to stop the DeAndre Swift. And conversely, the Eagles are going to take advantage of what they do in that regard and beat them through the air.
And there's a guy we didn't mention at all, but DeAndre Swift, just a tremendous game. But it'll be interesting to see what his touches are this game, what A.J. Brown's touches are this game, what Goddard's are. I mean, except for Devontae Smith last week, you mentioned the completions. The average yards per catch for both A.J. and Goddard was about 5 or 6. That's nothing.
But
those are checkdowns.
Okay, then. But what would have happened if you added the two that were taken away from A.J.?
One was like, what, an 11-yard pass?
I think it was 15 or 16.
Right.
And the other one was about 30 yards.
That one.
I mean, did you see it?
No, I didn't see that.
You didn't see that play?
No.
You were blinking, sleeping?
No, what I was trying to do was I was trying to tune in to WIP on the radio to hear you, because I was tired of that national telecast and what they were saying. But apparently, I missed that.
You missed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But and I love to listen to the game through the headsets. Do you believe that?
No. Of course not. But it's nice of you to say.
I tried, yeah.
I'm telling you that I'm not worried about this team. I thought going into the season, I'll tell you how I differ. I thought going into the season they were by far clearly the best team in the NFC.
Oh, they still are.
And easily the best team in the NFC East. Well, I still believe they are, but I don't think they're easily the best team in the NFC East, because I think Dallas is a much improved team. They have a lot of new people.
Yeah, they do.
They have a lot of people that weren't playmakers before.
Yeah.
And Dak Prescott's off to a good start. And the offensive line that I didn't think was so terrific gave him time.
Well, the defensive line too, with Micah Parsons. That's going to be a force that the Eagles are going to have to reckon with. But all that said, I still think I looked at the schedule coming into the season. I thought 8-0 is very doable, and I still feel like that.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to sound like a coach, but the only thing they can focus on right now is going 1-0 or 3-0 by beating Tampa Bay.
It'll be 8-0 before they play a good quarterback in Dak Prescott.
Well, you know what? So far this season, they're getting pretty good quarterbacking. Tampa Bay is. They're getting some very, very good quarterbacking, and I haven't been the biggest fan of their quarterback since
Baker Mayfield. Right.
Baker Mayfield has played very, very well. I really think he's played good football for them. He's a leader.
He's got two good receivers.
He beat
too.
the Eagles when he was in Cleveland. He takes.
Well, that was Carson Wentz who beat the Eagles, right? In Cleveland.
He contributed to the loss.
Okay.
He contributed to the loss. But Baker Mayfield is not a bad quarterback.
Yeah,
he really isn't.
I don't know. He's bounced around.
He's
a journeyman, but they do have two really good receivers in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
They're good.
Yeah, they are. But they lost their center, too, Ryan Jensen, who I happen to think was, if not the best, either he or right tackle Tristan Wirfs. There's a guy Billy Werndell liked. Those are the two best offensive linemen on the team. And Jensen,
yeah, they're good. There's no doubt
Jensen won't
good.
be there. So that'll make it a little more difficult to kind of counter that inside push that the Eagles have. It's been so effective.
Now, the defensive line has a pretty good player, too, in Vita Vega.
Yeah.
What's he, about 900 pounds?
Yeah, he always gives the Eagles trouble, too, Vita Vega, yeah.
But when you're talking about, Bobby Grotz, when you're talking about the defensive linemen, how about the way that Jordan Davis has started his season?
He's having an excellent.
And Jalen Carter is the real thing.
Yeah. Jordan Davis is impacting every game.
He really is.
I mean, I'm really impressed by him. Of all the defensive linemen, he's playing the best in my opinion, or he's made the biggest jump from last year to this year. Josh Sweat is playing very well, and Fletcher Cox has given them some really good snaps. Yeah,
because they're spotting him.
Okay,
they're realizing that he's 30-something years old, and he can't go out there and play 60 snaps.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're right about Jalen Carter.
They're keeping him fresh. They're keeping him fresh. So when Fletcher's in, he has an impact.
Jalen Carter, when he gets in there, the number one pick, the first-round pick.
Ferocious.
Yeah, he's playing quintessential downhill player. And, and they seem to have found the right rotation for him, too.
I think they have. But I think another guy that I'm waiting to see, and I think we may see him sooner than later.
Nolan Smith?
Well, Nolan Smith is playing some.
Yeah.
But I'm waiting to see Sidney Brown, because I think he could be an impact safety.
I think you'll see a lot of him. I think he's going to play a little bit of nickel. We'll get to the injuries later in the show, but Avonte Maddox, his absence, he could be out for the season with a torn pectoral.
Oh, I would think he is.
They don't say
it, but I think he is.
It'll be difficult.
I've never seen a guy with a torn pec come back in that season.
You may see Sidney play a little bit of that. He can do it all.
Well, yeah, I think he's going to be terrific.
He can play corner,
I do.
safety.
Yeah. All right, we're going to be back. Kevin Reilly is on his way, and we'll talk to Kevin, and we'll be back right after this.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, and we are prouder than ever to partner with the Philadelphia Eagles. Chicky and Pete's has been named the official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, and we continue to serve as the official caterer of both Eagles training camp and the official caterer of the First Trust Bank Club at Lincoln Financial Field. Go where the players go. The official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, Chickies Pete's.
Planning to go to the game? Give LimoToday.com a call. You'll get to the game and back safely and in style. Why worry about the traffic and parking when you can relax and let LimoToday.com do the driving for you and your friends? And if you book a 5-hour trip with LimoToday.com, you'll get the 6-hour free. From sedans to minibuses to vans and stretch limos, let LimoToday.com get you to the game. Give them a call at 1-866-LIMO-TODAY. That's 1-866-LIMO today.
A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City. Your day-to-day life is hectic between having to pick up the kids, make dinner, the countless other tasks that you got to get done. Rob's Automotive and Collision is there to make your life a whole lot easier. Make sure you take advantage of their spacious waiting rooms, the large flat-screen TVs, complimentary coffee and muffins, and free Wi-Fi. So even when you do have to stop, Rob's is there to make you feel right at home. Give Rob's a call today at 215-826-9200 for any of your auto repair needs.
This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for AutoPay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
At Penn Community Bank, we're not just your bankers, we're your neighbors. That comes in handy when you're purchasing your first place, refinancing an existing mortgage, buying a second home or investment property, or looking to tap into your home's equity. Whatever your situation, we pair the latest products, services, and technology that you need with the experienced banking professionals you want. Visit penncommunitybank.com or stop by your local branch to find out how we can make your family's growth personal. Penn Community Bank. Here we are and here we grow. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The life of an Eagles fan is a wild ride. Some years we triumph. Some years we don't. What never changes year after year is how we get to the game, shoulder to shoulder with our fellow fans on SEPTA. And this season, fans ride home free from NRG Station on the Broad Street line thanks to Unibet, an official casino and sportsbook partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. Plan your trip to the game and learn more about free rides home, sponsored by Unibet at iseptaphilly.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA. Once again, here's your host, Delaware County Times Birds reporter Bob Grotz, and voice of the Philadelphia Eagles, Merrill Reese.
And back we are, Chickies and Pete's in beautiful Audubon, Pennsylvania. Kevin Reilly is on his way, and he will be here soon. And right now, it is time for this week's injury review, brought to you by the attorneys at Begley, Carlin, and Mandio. Contact them today for a free consultation at 215-806-3689. That is 215-806-3689. Now, one of the things you never get from the Eagles or their coach is an injury assessment. He will say, we have several guys who may play this week, but we're not going to provide any competitive advantage, and we won't tell you who they are or what's going to happen.
Well, he actually went out on a little bit of a limb this week.
What did he say?
Nick Sirianni. He said that he's hopeful that all these guys could play.
Oh.
Or, I mean, 3 of the guys, yeah.
Okay.
And though that would be Reed Blankenship, the safety, and boy, did they miss him last week.
They did.
And he's got ribs, and I think he
Well,
hurt.
we all have ribs.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
One way or the other, we all have ribs.
Yeah, he's got well,
He has rib injuries.
yeah, he has a rib injury, to be technical, yeah. And I think he got that, Merrill. He hasn't been in the locker room to ask, but during the open locker room. But I think he got that by he and James Bradbury collided in that first game, late in the first game. And Bradbury,
they call that friendly fire.
Yeah, Bradbury could also be back, and he got a concussion from banging into a teammate. And Kenny Gainwell, running back, could be back with ribs. Do they finesse that a little bit because of DeAndre Swift?
Well,
and say, we can't keep 4 running backs active
there's
anyway.
no rush.
Yeah.
There's no rush because they have a very deep running back room.
Okay.
Between Gainwell, Boston Scott, DeAndre Swift, who was terrific, and, of course, Rashad Penny, who came in and had a couple of good
However,
games.
Boston Scott had a head injury.
Oh, he had a concussion too.
So, yeah.
Forgot about that.
That's I had almost forgotten about that. Yeah, so maybe not. Kenny Gainwell, they're hopeful he could be back. Quez Watkins has a hamstring.
He does.
Yeah, and he has an ailing hamstring.
Okay. Yeah, because we all have hamstrings.
Yeah, right. I wouldn't be surprised if he was deactivated.
But
this
then
week.
you have Olamide Zaccheaus, who goes into that slot, and I'm anxious to see what he can do.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's as fast as Quez Watkins, but I think he's a pretty good receiver.
Okay, and those are the guys those are the kind of the active injuries. Avonte Maddox, who we were speaking about a little bit ago, nickel cornerback. It looks like he's going to miss the rest of the season. He could. I mean, it'll be really difficult for him to come back if it's a torn pectoral muscle, which we think it is.
I heard Aaron Rodgers say, or was quoted as saying the other day, that he could be ready if if the Jets go to the playoffs. Well,
yeah, right.
That's high hopes. Without him, with him, the Jets might have gone to the playoffs. Without Aaron Rodgers, I don't think the Jets are going anyplace.
Yeah, well, and besides, unless there's mystical healing powers in that cave Aaron Rodgers goes to, there's no way.
There's no way you'll come back
from
6
Achilles.
months from
Right.
Achilles.
Yeah, and Avante, I mean, he joins Nakobe Dean. Well, Nakobe Dean is going to be back. He's on IR, and
he'll be back in
with
3
a foot
weeks.
injury. Yeah, and
do you know what his foot injury is?
I think it's a Liz Frank.
Do you? But
I
you
think
don't
it's
know.
a sprain. Yeah,
you're
you're
guessing.
right. You're right.
You're guessing.
I am guessing.
You don't know
yeah.
that.
No,
it could be athlete's foot.
No,
he could have a badly broken toenail.
No.
Do you know that?
No.
But see, they don't tell us.
You don't.
And that's what inspires you to guess. Well,
athlete's foot.
He could have a Liz Frank.
I'm sorry to all the people out here in the neighborhood, right out here in Chickies and Pete's. Yeah, don't just
but we
forget
don't
about
know.
that.
We don't
take
know.
that back. Yeah,
we don't know what he has.
But you're right.
We know he's out for another 3 weeks.
Yeah, and
okay. And Avante Maddox, if he has a torn pectoral muscle, you can better believe that that's the season.
That's going to be.
I've never heard of anyone tearing the pec and coming back in that same season.
Yeah, it hurts just to talk about that, doesn't it? A torn pec.
Well, here's what hurts. It hurts to talk about so many injuries after 2 games because what did the Eagles do in the summer? They played patty cake. They did not hit. They did not tackle. No practice was really live. They got a little livelier. There was some contact when they had the combined workouts with
joint
the Cleveland
practices,
Browns
right.
and the Indianapolis Colts. But really, they did everything in their power to ensure that these players would go into the season healthy. So what happens? You go into the season, and we just read the phone book. That's what it sounded like. And because the fact of the matter is, no matter how hard you try to stay healthy, no matter what precautions you take, a lot of injuries are just bad luck. They have nothing to do with conditioning, with food, with the amount of time you sleep. They all make you a healthier, stronger, more physically fit individual. But if you fall the wrong way, or your cleat catches in the grass, or if you get rolled over, any of these things could end the season in the National Football League. Look at the Cleveland Browns last night. They lost Nick Chubb for the season, and he's one of the best running backs in football.
What a gruesome injury. Oh, the knee just kind of went the other way, or the leg.
Yeah.
You feel for them. I mean,
you do.
Yeah, and that's the one that he had pretty much shredded 3 or 4 years ago. So that could be. Hopefully, it's not a career ender. But
and then the Giants have lost Saquon Barkley again.
Yeah.
And Saquon Barkley is a great back, but he is another guy who came out of Penn State, and he was picked at the top of the draft, right up there, and he has not been healthy. I mean, he had a pretty good stretch last year, but before that he was out most of the season, and even though they say it's probably just a high ankle sprain this year, but he's going to miss a couple of games.
It's always something, yeah. And I think for the most part, except for Ryan Jensen, I think the Bucs are pretty healthy. I think they're pretty healthy coming into this. So we will see what will, how they match up with the Eagles.
All right. Our guest has arrived, Kevin Reilly.
Here he is.
And Kevin will join us right after this.
Pete from Chicky and Pete's, and we are prouder than ever to partner with the Philadelphia Eagles. Chicky and Pete's has been named the official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, and we continue to serve as the official caterer of both Eagles training camp and the official caterer of the First Trust Bank Club at Lincoln Financial Field. Go where the players go. The official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, Chickies and Pete's.
Planning to go to the game? Give LimoToday.com a call. You'll get to the game and back safely and in style. Why worry about the traffic and parking when you can relax and let LimoToday.com do the driving for you and your friends? And if you book a 5-hour trip with LimoToday.com, you'll get the 6-hour free. From sedans to minibuses to vans and stretch limos, let LimoToday.com get you to the game. Give them a call at 1-866-LIMO-TODAY. That's 1-866-LIMO-TODAY.
A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City.
BCWSA customers, former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green here. I played on the 1993 National League champs, so I know a thing or two about what it's like playing on a winning team. BCWSA has all the ingredients. They make it easy for their customers to get automatic updates by text, email, or phone anytime there is a disruption in your service area. You can even customize your alerts by going to bcwsa.net. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, your partner for a safer environment. BCWSA, proven.
At Penn Community Bank, we're not just your bankers, we're your neighbors. That comes in handy when you're purchasing your first place, refinancing an existing mortgage, buying a second home or investment property, or looking to tap into your home's equity. Whatever your situation, we pair the latest products, services, and technology that you need with the experienced banking professionals you want. Visit penncommunitybank.com or stop by your local branch to find out how we can make your family's growth personal. Penn Community Bank. Here we are and here we grow. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
When an Eagles player gets hurt, the team takes care of him. When you get hurt, the attorneys at Begley, Carlin, and Mandio will take care of you. They understand that a severe accident can be a life-altering event. You need a reliable teammate to fight for you. The attorneys at Begley, Carlin, and Mandio will get you great results. And if there's no recovery, there's no fee. Contact them today at 215-750-0110 for a free consultation. 215-750-0110 for a reliable ally that's on your side.
Your day-to-day life is hectic between having to pick up the kids, make dinner, the countless other tasks that you got to get done. Rob's Automotive and Collision is there to make your life a whole lot easier. Make sure you take advantage of their spacious waiting rooms, the large flat-screen TVs, complimentary coffee and muffins, and free Wi-Fi. So even when you do have to stop, Rob's is there to make you feel right at home. Give Rob's a call today at 215-826-9200 for any of your auto repair needs.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA. Once again, here's your host, Delaware County Times Birds reporter Bob Grotz, and voice of the Philadelphia Eagles, Merrill Reese.
And back we are here at Chickies and Pete's in Audubon, and we have one of our favorite guests, former Eagles linebacker, former Villanova star. You want to go back a little further, you can go back to Salesianum. And one of the fine broadcasters, he's done Eagles pre- and post-game shows, and you hear him on the Villanova games as the color analyst each week. How about a nice welcome for Kevin Reilly. Kevin, great to have you here.
Thanks, Merrill. Great to be here. Bob, good seeing you again.
Nice to see you, Kevin.
Gosh, I feel
Always
like I'm
a
back in the press box with you and Mike and Joe.
Sure, you used to sit up with us in the broadcast booth
yeah.
for every game and then disappear and go do the pre and the post game stuff.
Great story. It's one of my favorite. I think they asked Mike Quick to come down for the flip of the coin for the championship game because the Eagles kept losing for good luck. And so I'm sitting with John Miller. We're done with our pregame stuff, and we did a little spotting for those guys and just watching the game. And Merrill comes over and says, would you like to sit in for Mike? And I said, what are you kidding me? I'm like, yeah, I'd love to sit in for Mike. So we get there, and it's still pregame stuff, you know. Well, Mike gets stuck. You get trying to get up through the only elevator there.
Oh, was this at the vet?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is when you had somebody go over and pull the plug out of the elevator.
Yeah. I gave the guy extra money to take him up and down there a couple times. But the next thing you know, I guess we did 5 to 6 minutes of the first quarter before Mike got in. And he grabbed me, and I said, go away. We had some fun with it. But, you know, you have a great partner in Mike Quick, one of the best people in the world.
He is one of the best people, and he works very hard.
Yeah.
Like you.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter if you're doing Villanova or the Eagles or whomever, you are going to be prepared because you take it seriously and because you express yourself well, and you have a passion for the game that we all have.
Yeah, you know, one of the most difficult things now that I never thought I'd encounter 25 years ago doing broadcasting was the difficult names I face every Saturday. These kids' names now are just incredible. But other than that, you have to do. I say that because I'm good with the usual homework, getting the names down. We got spotters and that, but then I got to get the pronunciations down. And God bless you if you're at a high school game where the parents are sitting in front of you. They'll come up and knock on the window and tell you you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Yeah.
That's true. But every year there's some. Yeah. I mean, the new one on the Eagles this year, Alameda Zacchaeus.
You got it down. How long did that take you?
12 days. I did it morning till night. But now here's a guy. Can you imagine how remarkable it is that they have Alameda Zacchaeus and they have DeAndre Swift, both of whom went to St. Joe's Prep and are playing for their hometown team?
Unbelievable.
I don't think that's ever happened in Eagles history.
No. That is unbelievable.
It really is. It is. What are your early reads on this team?
Oh, that's interesting.
Because I know you watch everything.
Yeah, 2 games in. I have a feeling, let me just start with Jalen. I just have a feeling that this guy has such a work ethic. He might be on the edge of a little burnout. You know, he can only get so much better. You have a ceiling, everybody does. And I also think that they had a lot of time to watch game film.
That's where I am with you. That's where I am with you.
They've had a lot of time to watch game film. And then a third element is, I think I'm right with this, the first game of the season in the NFL, 17 teams had 20 points or less. Mm-hmm. And that tells me that you got to have some kind of, I know these scrimmages were what was, keeping the first string guys out of the preseason games. But, man, offense is all about, being fluid and, having a rhythm. And there's just, you watch game after game, there's just no rhythm.
See, I say the September games look like preseason games.
They certainly
You guys played preseason games. I mean, I remember that Dick only played you for maybe a half. They called the third preseason game the dress rehearsal. You played at least a half, and if you didn't like the way you played, you came back in the third quarter. But today, the regulars played not at all, and even the training camp days, there was a minimum of hitting. Now, if you look at Jalen Hurts last week, people are saying, what's wrong with him? Well, he was 18 for 23. He threw a great touchdown pass to Devontae Smith, and then he hit A.J. Brown in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown, which was called back when a Chintzy holding call, and then he hits him again in the hands, and it would have been a touchdown except there was pass interference that wasn't called. So he's still playing well, but I buy your statement that they had a whole off season and they seem to be putting more people, more bodies up at the line of scrimmage to keep him from running. Do you see that?
I certainly do. And, speaking of preseason games, I go down to the Miami Dolphins and we're playing 6 preseason games. Well, we're going to play 7 because we play the college all-stars because they won the Super Bowl.
Oh.
I only played 10 in college, and I played in every one of those games at least a quarter.
What was your first year with the Eagles?
1973 when I made it to the last cut with the Dolphins. Yeah, 73. I was there all 74 and a part of 75.
Okay, so I came in, did color in 77, and then did the last 2 games in the 77 season. In 78, the Eagles started with the Hall of Fame game. That's where Vince Papale scored his only touchdown against Miami in Canton, Ohio, and then 6 more preseason games. Wow. So we had 7 before the season began.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I had 10 in in college, and I'm looking at if I make it somebody's team, it's another 14 games. It's like 2 years of college. And, I was pretty worn out in 73. I remember getting weighed in. I weighed myself in after the last game. We were packing up, and I was under 210 pounds. The linebackers aren't supposed to be under 220, and I had just worn myself down. I was faster on special teams, but if I had to ever go in and replace Berge for a half, I'd have been in trouble.
Yeah.
Hey, well, we talked about the offense, and I get that. All right, not much of a preseason. All right, takes a little bit longer to get in sync, but the defenses have been pretty good. League throughout the league, and the Eagles' defense, they gave up 4 touchdown passes to Kirk Cousins. this past week. I mean, so all right, that was a little bit of an anomaly compared to the first game where they only allowed 20 points. So, where do you see that Eagles defense? I mean, I think even with injuries, they've done a decent job.
Decent job. The defensive backs that had to go in that hadn't played a snap, and you've got Jefferson that you've got to cover.
Yeah.
That's got to be shaking in your boots. And for the guys that went in that didn't have, that kind of experience, I got to say, they did pretty well for what I could see.
And the linebackers.
And the linebackers, too. Yeah, defensive line is just
what
something else.
What do you think of these two young kids from Georgia, Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter?
Well, Coach said what I heard Coach Vermeil. When I watched him I came up for one of the practices, and then I've watched the preseason games. I think that he's got the Reggie White possibilities.
Carter?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Carter, if he can just continue to play at that level and maybe lose a little bit of weight, because I wonder if he's going to tire out during a full game. But he is a monster. He's just pushing people around.
He reminds me of Jerome Brown. I mean, the way that the havoc that he wreaks in there.
But he's so
what would
quick.
You say about that, Merrill?
Well,
you saw a lot of him.
Well, Jerome Brown was huge, a little bit fat.
Yeah.
But
the way he
Jordan Davis is built more like a Jerome Brown, I think.
Yeah.
And Jordan Davis is starting to be a force. He pushes that pocket back. He's going to make things available for Jalen Carter to clean up.
When Carter and him were in at the same time, Davis and Carter were in at the same time, I'm watching, and one was double teamed, the other had a single, and they were pushing these three guys back like nothing.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I think they're going to be something to deal with.
It makes everybody else better, too, because now you have Fletcher Cox, who doesn't have to be in there for all these snaps, and you put Fletcher in, and he can still make some big plays.
You know that.
Yeah.
And he proved that making those two big plays at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Fumble recovery was huge.
Yeah.
So you think that Jordan Davis is more the Jerome Brown type?
In physical presence, he is. But we'll see. I mean, Kevin alluded to Reggie White. Reggie White was the greatest defensive end of all time, in my opinion, or arguably the best ever. But I think they're both awfully good. And there's a lot of time to find out, because we're talking about Jordan Davis, who didn't play much last year between the sprained ankle and the concussion, and we're talking about Jalen Carter after 2 games. So there's a long career ahead of both of them. They have another defensive player who I love, and I think I do like Nolan Smith also, but we haven't seen much of him yet. But the guy in training camp who really stood out was Sidney Brown.
Really?
The safety from Illinois. His teammates call him a heat-seeking missile. He will hit anything that walks. I mean, he is absolutely on fire every play. Have you seen him at all?
I can't remember seeing him. I do remember seeing him in one of the preseason games. But you say he reminds you a little bit of the Dawk?
He reminds me of Dawkins when Dawkins first came.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to project him into Canton, Ohio, but when Dawkins first came here, he was just annihilating people, and that's what Sidney Brown's doing. And this kid's hungry. This kid was born in Canada, and he and his twin brother and their little sister were raised by a mother, and by the time he was 16 years old, they had lived in 20 dwellings. And then he was recruited to a high school, he and his brother, in Florida. So they played in Florida. Both went to the University of Illinois. And here is Sidney drafted in the 3rd round as a corner by the safety by the Eagles. And Chase Brown drafted as a running back by the Bengals. How's that for a story?
Wow. Hard knocks, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
it's
he probably
really
thinks
amazing.
this is fun, knocking people down.
Yes, I've heard people say, I forget who I heard say it. It might have been Russell Wilson, but he said when these guys grow up, and I'm sorry, it was a tennis player. It was during the U.S. Open. One of the tennis players talk about the pressure on the court, and they think about pressure. Some of them who grow up in disadvantaged homes where just making it through another day is accomplishment. This is tennis. How could this be pressure? These are sports. Now, there's pressure. There's a different kind of pressure. But it's still, they've been through greater odds than just knocking over a running back.
There's no doubt about it. perspective is everything when you come to some situations like that. You know, we have so many complainers here in the United States, you know, and I do my motivational talks, and I just talk about, you know, perspective. And I told them, you know, my perspective totally changed after my operation, you know, what was important in life and things. And I went in a totally different direction than where I thought I was headed, and all for the better. But I get in front of these people who think I got so many problems. Well, we have so many things. You know, we create our own problems. And I'll say, how would you like to be a 21-year-old mother over in Ukraine with a baby in both arms? You haven't heard from your husband in 12 weeks. You don't know if he's still alive or not. And you're not sure where you're going to stay tonight. Now, that's pressure.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
and after you've done some of that, anything else just seems like a cakewalk.
You're absolutely right. We'll be back with Kevin Reilly right after this.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, and we are prouder than ever to partner with the Philadelphia Eagles. Chicky and Pete's has been named the official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, and we continue to serve as the official caterer of both Eagles training camp and the official caterer of the First Trust Bank Club at Lincoln Financial Field. Go where the players go. The official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, Chickies and Pete's.
Planning to go to the game? Give LimoToday.com a call. You'll get to the game and back safely and in style. Why worry about the traffic and parking when you can relax and let LimoToday.com do the driving for you and your friends? And if you book a 5-hour trip with LimoToday.com, you'll get the 6-hour free. From sedans to minibuses to vans and stretch limos, let LimoToday.com get you to the game. Give them a call at 1-866-LIMO-TODAY. That's 1-866-LIMO-TODAY.
A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City.
This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for AutoPay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
Ventresca Limited, the Delaware Valley men's store, is located in historic Doylestown. For casual clothing in denim to business suits and tuxedos, Ventresca Limited has a large selection you have to see to believe. The experienced and knowledgeable sales staff can show you the many brand labels that have made Ventresca Limited in Doylestown a must for men concerned about their image. Select from Canali, Brax Jeans, Hickey Freeman, Johnson Murphy Footwear, and much more. Custom alterations are free. Visit Ventresca Limited on the web at ventresca.com.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA. Once again, here's your host, Delaware County Times Birds reporter Bob Grotz, and voice of the Philadelphia Eagles, Merrill Reese.
And Kevin Reilly is our guest at Chickies and Pete's here in Audubon. Let's each give a key to the game. The key to the game, this week's game, is brought to you by Pensworth Financial.
I got one.
The key to your financial future is Pensworth Financial. Call them today at 267-997-4503 or visit penworth.com. All right, Bob,
I got a key. Number one key. Throw the ball only to A.J. Brown in the first quarter.
Reggie Brown.
A.J. Brown, I'm sorry. Remember him? He was pretty good, yeah.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah. Okay.
But go ahead.
Throw the ball only to A.J. Brown in the first quarter. Make him happy. It's a long season. And just kind of exercise those demons from the last game.
I think the number one key, in my opinion, is give Jalen Hurts a couple of ticks more time. The offensive line is a good offensive line, one of the best in football, but he has to have time. And he's a great passer, and I don't care if he throws to A.J. Brown. I don't care if he throws to Devontae Smith or Dallas Goedert or Olamide Zaccheaus, he will be fine. Kevin.
I'm going to go with Jalen getting a little more time in the pocket, and that would say the offensive line's just got to give him another second or two for him to pick out the open man. I think he did an okay job. You and I talked about it last week. The only thing I really see as a difference in the first two games from Jalen from last year, he doesn't seem to be running as hard as he did last year, but that might be by design. He's getting down quicker. He doesn't want to get hurt.
Well, that's smart, too.
Yeah, it's smart. So that's the only difference I see, and I just don't think he had enough times in the last 2 weeks. I do like this, though, the fact that they could run the ball, and they kept running it.
Yeah.
They didn't get out, hey, if they're going to give us that, we're going to take it.
See, I don't ever want to see Jalen Hurts run the ball like Lamar Jackson or run the ball like Josh Allen. They're both great quarterbacks, especially Josh Allen, who's gotten close to really accomplishing some things, but he's reckless. He's reckless. I see him flying through the air, landing on his
neck.
Can't
do that. You're not going to last long.
Can't hold up. And Lamar Jackson missed a lot of time last season. If you want to stay healthy, you have to be able to slide. And I think Jalen is being more judicious.
Yeah, and I would like to see him run to the outside where he has a chance to slide or get out of bounds. That's where he's most effective, rather than going up the middle.
He's a little bit bigger this year. Is he just as fast?
Oh, he's bigger, but he is just as fast. He is basically unstoppable on 4th and 3rd and 1. On short yardage, you can't stop him because his legs are so unbelievably muscular. And, of course, the Eagles have what they call the tush push. I don't know why the other teams don't do that, where everybody just bangs him from behind and he goes 5 yards.
I think Temple did that last week. I'm serious.
Maybe, but I'm not.
I'm serious.
I don't think Temple and the Eagles are ready for a comparison. Temple did it against Norfolk State. The Eagles were playing the Minnesota Vikings.
I can't wait to get into the picks this week because I know I'm leading the pack.
Well, you're not leading the pack, as a matter of fact, because we both picked exactly the same teams last week, and we were both 4-4, which isn't very, very good. Kevin, when you look at this defense and you see corners like James Bradbury and you see Darius Slay, that's got to give this team such an advantage. And I think we saw that last week with Bradbury out.
Yeah, we did. And, those two guys in particular really fear nobody. They'll come up and put the hat on somebody. They almost dare you to come off the line of scrimmage and challenge you. And, that's the kind of confidence that runs through a defense when you have a couple guys like that on the team. And they've got those guys on the front four or front three that are, the down linemen. But it's good having those two guys out there. I hope Blankenship gets back.
I think he will.
Yeah, I hope he gets back in a hurry.
There's a good kid who went to Middle Tennessee State and was an undrafted free agent and made the team, and here he is, second year he's a starter.
He just doesn't make many mistakes.
No, he doesn't.
He's a really smart out there. Whatever he lacks in athletic ability or speed, he makes up with experience.
I think it hurts that they've lost Devontae Maddox. He's a good slot corner and nickel corner, and he's probably gone for the season. They won't say it, but
you're going to have Bradbury probably play some nickel snaps too. So get ready for that.
Yeah, you're going to do a lot of different things. What do you know? Tampa Bay, Baker Mayfield. Mayfield's not a bad quarterback. He's moved around from several teams.
What team hasn't he played for, Merrill? I mean, on the Eastern. Yeah.
No, he started out in Cleveland.
Okay.
I used to love the commercials with him supposedly living in Cleveland Stadium.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
remember
Those were MVP commercials.
They were great commercials. And then he moved out to the Raiders. No, did he move to? He moved to the Raiders 2 years ago. He played with the Raiders.
That's right.
And now he's back again, and he's with Tampa Bay. They're pretty interesting with him. I don't think, and we talked about it before. He's got some very good receivers. Mike Evans is as tough to stop as anybody. He's not as fast as Justin Jefferson, but he is big and he is muscular. He is a great target.
He has been for years. He's one of those guys. We used to say this about Mike Ciani, who I played with at Villanova. When the ball's in the air, he believes it's his.
Yeah.
And those type of guys, A.J. Brown believes that. That ball's in the air.
He's
his.
great.
Yeah.
He's great.
So you have confidence like that, and Evans has had it for a while. And he is going to be tough to cover.
Well, you have him, and you have Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin, another good one. Yeah.
He's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's tough, and they're just a very decent team. Todd Bowles, I think, is a great defensive coach. Proved himself as a defensive coordinator. Then he took over as a head coach with the Jets. Didn't have success there. I don't know.
Well, they had a winning season there.
Well, they did have one.
Yeah,
they did have one, and then it all went away. I wish him luck. He's a quality individual.
He's a Temple
former
guy.
Temple guy.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to have a tougher time with this Tampa Bay team that is minus Tom Brady.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's a really big miss, isn't it? That Brady's not there. What do you think about the punting situation? This punter comes in. I think his two kicks, or a couple kicks that only averaged 37 yards, was kind of the nail in his coffin there.
Yeah, I think the Super Bowl. They've been trying to get rid of him since the Super Bowl, and he tried to come back too fast. I think from that fractured ankle he had.
Well,
so, we're talking about Aaron Sipos. Who was released.
One of the things, no matter how hard I try, and this is my 47th year doing these games, I have a tough time when I really, really, really like somebody. And I really like Aaron Sipos. He is a great guy, and he's done a good job. And not only has he done a good job as a punter, he's been an outstanding holder for Jake Elliott, and he's never made a mistake. On the other hand, I can understand when he's in kind of a slump, teams get nervous. And when he kicked one short one last week, I thought to myself, that's it. They're going to move. Now, the new guy, he's failed too in the past. Otherwise, he wouldn't be out there.
They all have their slumps.
His name is Braden Mann. And he was originally a 6th-round draft choice of the Jets. But they go up and they go down. But one guy who doesn't have a slump, and I think he's probably the second best kicker, in my opinion, in the National Football League, the first being Justin Tucker, who owns every record known to man with the Ravens. But I think Jake Elliott is better than the rest of them.
There's a guy that I think is under the radar getting recognition, the job that he does. You almost expect now if it's over 50 yards, he's got a better shot than anybody in the league.
3 of those in 2 games, yeah.
I agree with you, Merle. He has really done the job.
My son called me from California where he works as a film editor. He said, Dad, the Eagles are in great shape. I said, really? He said, yes, there's a trend. Do you realize that every time Jake Elliott kicks a 61-yard field goal, the Eagles win the Super Bowl? You know that?
They're 1-0.
That's right.
They're 1-0.
He kicked one against that one in 2017. That changed the season. That absolutely changed the season.
That changed the season, like Brian Westbrook running the punt back against the Giants.
The miracles of the Meadowlands, right?
That wasn't a miracle.
No,
that wasn't the miracle. The miracle was Herman Edwards. Miracle 1 and Miracle 2 was Michael Vick taking them from way back and then scoring on the pass inside the left pylon to Jeremy Maclin.
Right.
That was Miracle 2.
That was such a fun game to be at.
All right, we're gonna pick some games, Kevin. Bob and I
like the Eagles.
We don't pick the Eagles.
Oh, okay.
We don't pick the Eagles.
All right,
because we can't pick against them.
Maybe next week. Yeah.
But last week Bob and I just accidentally, first time ever, were the same on every single pick.
I was 7-1, I think.
We were both 4-4.
I kept track of them. Where's my list?
All right, Thursday night football. You never had to play a Thursday night football game.
No.
Aren't you lucky?
I guess.
Can you imagine playing on Sunday and then playing on Thursday?
No.
How about the Giants out in Arizona, but they stayed in Arizona for one day and then flew to California for the other 3, and they're back against the 49ers. Giants at the 49ers.
Oh.
Bobby?
49ers.
Kevin?
49ers.
Why don't you go with the Giants, Merrill?
Yeah,
we've got to be different.
I can't pick anyone but San Francisco right there. All right. Buffalo at Washington.
Buffalo.
Kevin?
I got to go with Buffalo there.
I do too.
Even though the Commodores have gotten better. You don't think
Commanders,
the Commodores, yeah. Maybe they sound like
same thing.
No.
Yeah.
I can remember you and I both know that we didn't have much in our hearts for the owner down there, Mr. Schneider.
Oh, he was the worst.
Guy was can I tell a real quick one?
Sure.
Guy that worked for me at Xerox. was walking around with Jeffrey Lurie with the, getting him from one place to the other. He got his brother to do the president of the other team, and they're both street guys, and that's why they were nowhere to send you to go to eat dinner and all that kind of stuff. So Jeffrey's on the sideline. They're playing Washington, and there's Schneider over on the other sideline. So Jeffrey says, call your brother and ask him if Mr. Schneider will meet us in the middle of the field. And I was in the booth with you at this time. And, to welcome him, it was the first time he was at the new stadium. And I want to welcome him to our new pad and to Philadelphia. So Jimmy calls his brother Mike, and Mike says, hey, Mr. Schneider, would you want to go over? He's with 2 of his college buddies. He goes, yeah. He said, tell him we'll meet him out there in about 60 seconds. So Jimmy's on the line. He said, Mike calls him. He said, 60 seconds. He said, okay, we'll start walking out when it's 30. So they start walking out. And all of a sudden, Mike calls Jimmy and says, they're over here chuckling. They're going to make you guys come to the sideline.
Oh.
Just to embarrass Jeffrey.
Oh, my goodness.
And Jeffrey took it with good stride, and he said, let's go over. We'll do that. And then they all had a big laugh after it. That told me a lot about that guy's character.
The only thing I question
Merrill did that to me last week. Yeah.
the only thing
I didn't think it was a
the
joke.
only thing. Oh, we have a minute. Okay, fast.
I'm sorry.
Dallas and Arizona.
Dallas.
Okay.
Dallas.
Atlanta at Detroit.
Detroit.
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Okay. The Patriots at the Jets.
Patriots.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got to pick my.
Okay. Chargers at Minnesota.
Oh, they're a choke team. I'll take the Chargers anyway.
Kevin?
I'll take Minnesota.
Okay. Pittsburgh at the Raiders.
Pittsburgh.
Okay, Bobby.
Pittsburgh.
Okay. And the Rams at Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'll take Cincinnati.
I'm taking the Rams.
The quarterback.
I am taking the Rams.
Quarterback's not 100%.
Well, we'll see. Anyhow, we're out of time.
Bengals, yeah.
Kevin, it's been great having you
Merle,
here.
great to see you again.
Thank you for coming.
Kevin,
You're a
thanks
great
for being
guest.
here.
Great guest.
Good to see you
Sorry
guys.
about the traffic jam. We
are you gonna
control
do?
what we could control. Yeah.
Chris Irmer is our producer. We thank all of you for joining us. Glenn Santalano is our executive producer tonight. So from all of us, we thank you for joining us. Good night, everyone.
You've been listening to the Pro Football Report, presented by BCWSA. Tonight's show is an exclusive presentation of 1490 AM, as well as 107.3 FM, and heard around the world at WBCB1490.com.